Hello everybody and welcome to a Diablo video. So I wanted to give you guys a heads up, basically. As many of you know, I'm a huge Diablo player. I'm fairly involved in doing a lot of farming. I was on the ladder for at least two of my characters last season. It was my monk and my demon hunter. I was within the top 500, which is really good, and you know, top 500 out of 1,000. It's pretty good out of you know, what shows up on the ladder. And then I play pretty frequently. We have our clan that we play with, and I play with Garrick and all that. But just so you guys, if you didn't know, I really love Diablo. I just don't do videos on it, right? Well, I'm going to make an exception this week, and that's because patch 2.2 is going to be coming out, and it's on the PTR. So I've been playing on the PTR, and I've been doing some testing of the new stuff that they're adding, the new gear, and all that fun stuff. In particular, I've been testing on my Demon Hunter and my Monk, because those are the two that I like the most, and I don't want them screwing them up, right? Like, I want to make sure that the gear I'm going to be getting is going to be good enough to use, and not just like, oh, it's more stuff to disenchant, basically. You know, I don't want that. So, over the next couple days, you guys are going to be seeing a couple videos go up. In particular, you know, of revolving around my Demon Hunter and my Monk, and I'm going to be showing off those new sets and doing greater riffs with them. But basically, the idea behind these videos is just as visual feedback for Blizzard. I'll send them in and all that fun stuff, just so that way I don't have to articulate myself through writing, which I'm not bad at. I do enjoy writing, and I'm reasonably good at it, but I feel like I can explain my desires for feedback, like, you know, like, say, this set that I'm using right now in the video, it's the multi-shot set that they're adding, but maybe it shouldn't just have multi-shot damage on it, you know, that's like. And, you know, going over that kind of stuff, I think I can articulate a lot better in a video because I could show off what I'm talking about as opposed to just, like, trying to give detailed information through a wall of text. Plus, I'm sure it's a lot easier for Blizzard to look at a video and be like, okay, I see what they're talking about. I see the gear they're using, and, you know, we get a really good visual feedback that way, as opposed to reading a wall of text that is not very fun to read 90% of the time. So yeah, you're going to be seeing a couple videos over the course of the next couple days. I just wanted to let you guys know that that's happening. And as a bit of a teaser, I wanted to show you the gear, the skills I'm using on the two characters, and show you a little bit of gameplay before I kind of get into the greater riff stuff for all that. So if you're interested in Diablo, you might find this stuff interesting. If you're not interested in Diablo, I totally understand. It's not that big of a deal. Trust me, we got more videos coming this week of normal stuff. Don't worry, it's not going to like spam the channel for weeks on end. One last thing before we get into my build and gear. I do want to point out that the PTR does have a 2,000% increased drop rate for legendaries, so it's not that I'm just damn lucky and getting a ton of legendaries dropping. That's how it is on the PTR, so that way you can test the new gear. Oh, and before I forget, the PTR is running a new file distribution system that it looks like it's having an effect on performance in the game. So the game is a little choppy here and there, and it's weird. Everybody's having it, but they're going to be working on it for the actual release of the patch, so it shouldn't make it through. But for the time being, the PTR is a little choppy, a little low frame rates. Not necessarily the funnest to play on, and it does make it a bit more difficult in the high greater rifts, so just keep that in mind throughout the footage. Okay, for the Demon Hunter, to begin with, I'm running Evasive Fire as my Hatred Generator, Multi-Shot as the damage dealer with the Fire Rune, the Arsenal Rune, which fires rockets. I'll explain the preparation, not preparation, in a second when I show you the gear. Vault is self-explanatory. It's to get around. Marked for Death is an additional 20% damage. I use the Contagion rune, which is when you kill something, it spreads to nearby enemies, which is really good. I'm using the Companion, specifically the Bat Companion for Hatred Generation, which is really nice because when you use it, it gives you a set amount of hatred, and then it has hatred per second on it as well as a passive. Passives, speaking of which, I'm using Ambush, I'll explain that. Cult of Weak, because it's good, even though I don't really have anything to trigger it at the moment. Ballistics, which increases rocket damage, and Awareness, which is a survivability thing. But as far as my gear goes, I'm using the new Unhallowed set, or Unhallowed set. So you got the helm, which is, pretty cool. You've got the shoulders, the gloves, the pants, and the boots that I'm using. I'm using a cinder coat because it reduces the cost of fire skills, right? So that makes a lot of sense. I'm using the kaleidoscope on my neck piece just because it hasn't, I don't really have anything else there. It makes me immune to poison damage. Reaper's Wraps because they're good. Ring of Royal Grandeur to make sure I get the 6-piece bonus. I'm using the new belt to try it out, which is basically, it just drops caltrops when I use Vault. The Unhallowed set in particular, the set generation, or set bonuses, 2 set, your generators generate 1 additional discipline, or 1 discipline, which is good. 4 set, you gain 40% damage reduction for 4 seconds when guys aren't in range of you. The Dead Man's Legacy goes in hand with the 6-piece, and we'll talk about that in a second. And then I'm using Natalia's, which I will also talk about. But it's the 6-piece bonus of this set that is the most interesting thing. So your generators and multi-shot deal 10% increased damage for every point of discipline you have, right? So that's, if you have 80 discipline, that's 10% per point. You're looking at 800%, right? That's a pretty easy math thing. I've got about 82 or 84. And the thing with this is the quiver makes it so multi-shot, when below a certain health on enemies, it's like 50 to 60 is the range that it can roll on. Then it hits the enemy twice. So your multi-shot basically deals double damage to people who are under 60% health, basically, which is really, really nice. Now, the reason I'm using Natalia's, the more, in particular, the bow and the ring, is because it gives you 20 extra discipline, so you stack that up. And just like I was saying in my skills with preparation, it keeps my discipline up, so I don't just have to keep using my generator to get my discipline up. Instead, I'm using my preparation to basically give me a flat amount of discipline that also increases the damage of my multi-shot generators. So that is a really good way of going about that. You could probably go with using a different bow if you can get one, but I think in general, I'm liking the look of the one-handed Natalia's weapon with the ring, or maybe another piece of Natalia's gear instead of one of the unhallowed pieces, and then using the Ring of Royal Grandeur. There's other things you could do here, and there's 2 really, really good rings that come with this patch that I'm not using on purpose because they're really powerful, and I want kind of like a baseline to go off of with this, to compare the damage between this and Marauders. I'm not having an optimum setup here, but I feel like Marauders is beating me out at the moment. And if I probably got a little bit better gear, like a better neck piece and stuff, I think this would be better for clearing T6 at least, but I haven't gotten too far into Greater Rifts with it to say either way if it's, super good or not. But if I were to show off some more combat, basically what I'm doing, when I'm playing this build, is I'm just running around multi-shotting everything because it does so much freaking damage. I'm trying to stay as far away as possible to get in the habit of, like, if I had Zay's, the legendary gem, which gives you increased damage the further away you are from targets, then that's just good to get that, settled with the multi-shot thing. Plus, it's got a wider girth as it goes along, so the further away you are, the little bit better hit range you're going to hit at, or have on enemies and stuff. But it's kind of key to keep an eye on things that are, like getting close to dead and whatnot, because once you get them below that threshold for your new quiver to take effect and hit them twice, you could do a lot of damage, and the burst is got some potential. Now that's why I'm using the ambush passive, which increases my damage by 40% to targets above 75% health, because then it's only about 25% health, right? So like 50 to 75 if you got a really bad roll on your whatever it's called. I think it's the Dead Man's Legacy quiver. But if you got it all the way up to 60, then you're only looking at like a 15% margin on health bars where you're not getting a massive damage boost, whether it be from double multi-shot hits or from your ambush passive. So there's some cool things you can have here. And I'm still messing around with different builds, so I think that there's a lot more potential to come out of this. But so far, this set is really fun, and my main feedback that I'm going to be giving Blizzard is why just have it as multi-shot damage? Why not have it as strafe and impale and what's the other one? Gosh, rapid fire is a bad one. You know, it could be also damage on those, maybe with a different coefficient, but just so it gives you a little bit of variety. But let's take a look at my monk now. Now, the key thing here with the monk that we're going to be looking at, and I still need to tweak it a bit, is this new 1,000 Storms or 1,000 Raiment, whatever it is, 1,000 Storms Raiment set bonuses that they added. So they kind of changed it around. It had a little bit of dashing strike functionality before, and it still has that, and it's the main key component, except they added something to it, which is reminiscent of my favorite monk build from before they changed it in 2.1, which they did this whole like Sun Wuku change with it to make it a bit more viable for other stuff. But basically the 2 set bonus now is your spirit generators attack 25% quicker and deal 500% increased damage, which is really good. 4 set increase the weapon damage of dashing strike to 5,000%, and the 6 set is basically your dashing strike doesn't have any charges and it just costs 50 spirit. Then you could just keep casting it. And a lot of people have called this the Raycor's monk, because Raycor's set for the Barbarian is you're just charging around doing a lot of damage. It's kind of the same thing here, same idea, except you're also using your generators to keep your spirit up, and you're attacking really, really fast. And there's a few key pieces of gear that come in mind with this, but the main one is the Flying Dragon, which is a Diablo that has a chance to double your attack speed. And this is the same as it was with the old build. It's just trying to get as much attack speed out of it as possible. Just do a ton of damage, and because your 2 set bonus for the set increases your attack speed of your spirit generators by 25%, plus increases the damage of them by 500%, it gets really absurd how much single target damage you can put out. And then I have Depth Diggers that I'm using, which are the pants, that increase the damage of your primary skills, so your generators, basically. To go along with all this, we have new bracers, which is your spirit generators reduce the damage taken by up to like 40% or 50% for 3 seconds, which is really nice. And then the 2 rings that are, they have new effects on them. First is Broken Promises. After 5 consecutive non-critical hits, your chance to critically hit is increased by 100% for up to 3 seconds. Crazy good. So basically you take all the critical chance off your gear and you just go crazy attack speed, and your critical chance is technically really, really high with it. It's super freaking good. I love the heck out of that ring. And then you have the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, which reduces the remaining cooldown of one of your skills for 1 second each time you spend resource. That one's a bit more complicated, and we'll talk about that. But I want to show you, kind of how this works functionally, right? So the main idea here is you're going to be attacking a lot. You're going to be dashing around a lot, and I want to point out that my gear is not optimized. I don't have the most amount of damage I could get. I'm missing the last, the 6-piece bonus of this set, so I'm not able to keep dashing, which would be ideal. Because with the Obsidian Ring, if you keep dashing, you're still spending resource, which means your Serenity, which is my number 4 skill, and my, what is it called, Epiphany, which is the number 3 skill there, does this thing where you basically have them up all the time if you can do it correctly, which is crazy, crazy good. Plus you get all the crit damage from, or the crit chance from the Broken Promises ring. Now, as for the skills that I'm using, I have Wave the 100 Fists as my primary skill. Attacks super freaking fast, puts a dot on things, holy dot. I'm using Exploding Palm, which I don't think I'll use when I get the last bonus. And I like the Shocking Grasp thing with it, so it just kind of spreads quicker. I'm using Sweeping Wind with Inner Storm to keep my spirit up. Using Dashing Strike, obviously, because it's really good with this set, and I would use it more when I have the 6-piece. Epiphany for damage reduction. I think I would change that to Spirit Generation once I have the 6-piece. Serenity for that damage reduction, because you should have that up all the time. Mythic Rhythm increases the damage of your spirit spenders when you've done enough attacks with your spirit generators. Momentum increases your damage by a flat amount. It's like 20% once you've moved a certain amount, which is really good with Dashing Strike. Beacon of Yitar is 20% cooldown reduction, and then Alacrity increases the attack speed of your spirit generators. So effectively speaking, when you get into combat, if you had the 6-piece bonus, you would just be charging the heck around. You would stop for a second, attack a little bit, you know, like get a round of attacks off, which would happen very, very quickly. Charge, attack, charge, attack, charge. And you'd get into this rhythm, right? And that's kind of where that passive comes in, that mythic rhythm passive, because you'd be doing all this extra damage from that alone. Plus, you would be charging around doing that damage, and then you have your spirit generators doing a lot of damage. And the key is when you get to the point where I need to burn down a Rift Guardian, or I need to kill, you know, like a single group, you'll be able to rip them apart, because I think that with this build, you could achieve the highest single target damage in the game by a significant margin. There was one time where I was just testing this stuff out with the current stuff I have. I didn't even have the full set yet, and, you know, I still don't have it, but I got to a Rift Guardian, and I just destroyed him. It literally took me about 10 seconds to kill him. And this was a Greater Rift Guardian. I think it was Greater Rift 35. And I was astonished. I was like, whoa, I wasn't doing that damage to everybody else. Like, suddenly I got this burst of damage because my Flying Dragon procced, and I just had, like, everything up at the right moment. And it all worked out. So I think if I was able to replicate the situation of that, which should be fairly easy, especially once I do get that 6-piece bonus, this build is going to be super crazy. You just do so much damage, and effectively, if you were using, you know, you're using the Dashing Strike to get that cooldown reduction from the Ring of the Zodiac, then you should have Serenity up all of the time. And what you would want to do with your gear rolling is you would want a lot of cooldown reduction, a lot of spirit cost, you know, reduction, so like resource cost reduction, and then you would want no crit at all. As much as you can get off your gear, you know, like don't have any crit chance, and just have the base crit chance and use that Broken Promises ring, because using that will guarantee that you're going to have a crazy amount of crit anyways, because you're attacking so fast that the amount of crits that are going to come out of it are better than what you would normally get off of gear. It's going to be higher than 50%, which is the typical amount that you see, you know, people running through gear alone. But imagine you had, I don't know, like the 10% crit plus on top of the ring. You're looking at probably about, you know, 75% crit on occasion here. And it's that attack speed thing that comes into play. Like I said, it's 5 consecutive non-crits, which means there are going to be crits that happen in between there. So it's not going to be every 5 attacks you crit. It's going to be a little bit more frequent than that. You may get strings of it where it is just every 5 attacks, but for the most part, I think it is going to be a massive DPS increase, especially if you're just running crit damage. And imagine you had like 500% crit damage, 600% crit damage. You would be doing insane damage with this build. So I'm curious to try it out with the 6-piece bonus. I'm going to be doing that soon, and then I'm going to be giving my feedback on this one, and you know, messing around with the new OSWguild 6-piece when that comes out. But overall, I'm really enjoying this patch. I think it's great. They've done a really good job on it. It won't be coming out until the end of Season 2, which hopefully is, you know, about a month or 2 away. You know, Season 1 went on a little too long, and I don't expect Season 2 to go that long, because they've said that it won't be. So that's really good. But with all that being said, expect a couple more Diablo videos over the next few days, and we shall see you guys next time.